All right, I think I'm going to kick this thing off. Welcome to LBR Share Success. Sandy, you want to pull up the PowerPoint? There we go. Welcome to LBR Share Success. We're excited to have you here with us. We're excited to do another webinar. This one, 'Tis the Season, How to Have a Successful Holiday Open House. Well, welcome. I'm Nancy Martinez. I am our Director of Independent Retail Florist Customer Channel and Marketing here at Limbush Roses. We're excited to have you all. And today we're going to be sharing ideas of how to get your customers back in your stores and into the holiday spirit. So just a little housekeeping. We have Kristen on the webinar here as well. She is going to monitor the chat. So if you have questions at all throughout this webinar, simply click on the chat button and you can ask a question, and Kristen will make sure she tees it up for us and we have it going. So I ask, if you have your camera on and you're not one of the guest speakers, if you could turn the video off just so that we have the guests in the spotlight, that would be great. And here I'm going to cue holiday music. Can you hear it? Okay, that was a little intro to Perry Como. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So with that, I'm going to introduce Sandy Schroeck. She's our education coordinator, and she's going to introduce our guest. Take it away, Sandy. Sandy, you got to unmute.
So there we go. Sorry. Hey, everyone. It's Sandy, and I'm so glad to have you all join us today for this webinar and really discussing kind of getting people back in our stores. So it's been a couple years since we've been doing that. And so we're going to talk to our two guests today, and let me introduce them. And we have Toni Myers from Toni's Flower of Anoka. And Toni, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I've been in the floral industry for about 4 years. Previously, I was a director of marketing for a large publisher in St. Paul. And then I bought Toni's Flowers in September of 2020, so just about 2 years ago. And then we moved locations just this year, so in January. But I'm very happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. And our other guest is Heather Hacker-Hammer, and she owns Zinnia in New Ulm. And Heather, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you for having me. First of all, we have been open. This store has been open for 10 years. We celebrated our 10-year anniversary this summer. In February, we're opening our second location in Sleepy in a nearby town. And I have been a florist for 27 years. So I've been around.
Those numbers are scary, aren't they?
They are really, really scary. Yes.
Are really super exciting. Yeah. I think it's awesome.
Oh, well, in interviewing these two to kind of prepare for this, it really became apparent that one thing was very important to both of them, and that's connecting with the community. So that's seems to be at the core of both of their businesses. And so we're just going to take a look at some of the techniques that they're using and the different areas that we're looking at here. But so we're going to start with Heather, and just let me share this here again. So here's some of the things, and Heather's going to share some of the connections that she makes.
Sure. So I mean, I grew up in a family business, so serving our community was always very important to my family. And so we've just sort of followed in those footsteps. And besides serving on Chamber Board and the New Ulm Business and Retail Association, we also founded a group called New Ulm Small Business Owners Group. And we get together and plan events like what's on the slide there is Witches Night Out is coming up. But we'll do events like this throughout the seasons, and maybe 5 or 6 of those on our own every year, besides partnering with the chamber. And another huge thing we do for our community is I am a Teleflora member currently, and so I'm on the board of the Mid Dakota unit, and we in the summertime in July actually give away about 680 mugs filled with fresh flowers or plants to all of our local nursing homes, assisted livings, hospitals. We added the EMT crews at the hospital this year as well, Meals on Wheels, group homes. And so we love to give back to our community, and we get people involved. We get our 4-H groups involved and Bible study groups, and all sorts of people will just volunteer because it brings so many smiles to so many people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely awesome. And it's kind of one of those pay it forward moves.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Toni doing the similar thing. So, Toni, why don't you tell us about some of the things that you're doing?
Yeah, so community is huge for us. I bought a business that had been established in Anoka for 70 years, so super important to the community. And then I come in and shake things up a little, which is a little scary. But this community embraced me and the changes so well, and like I'm so grateful for that. So we have done as much as we can to kind of give back and just thank them really. So when I first took over, I went and I introduced myself to the other local businesses and just started building those relationships. And that's been huge for us. So we do a lot with schools, other organizations in town. Community ed classes with the kids is super fun. This example that you see on the slide is Hope for Youth. They're an organization that focuses on teens and youth fighting or experiencing homelessness. And they posted a picture in the community group, like a devastating picture of their pantry this summer that was totally empty. And they had a list of items that they needed. So we're like, how can we help? We saw it right away. And it was like, what if people bring those items to us? They go home with a little bouquet, and it's kind of a win-win. And that was really, really fun. I think it was like about almost 250 pounds of food for this one drive. And it got a lot of people in the store too. So there's benefits for the business as well. We don't do it for that reason. But like you say here, it's just like you support them and they'll support you. So it was really cool to have the community come into here, introduce ourselves to them, but also give back to a local organization.
That's really great. I love that. And it sets you up too for when you do have events that they're willing to come back to you and support you as well, because you are now been embraced by your community. You are part of the community, and it sets you up for success. So, speaking of setting yourself up for success, um, plan, right? So, in order to get the most out of any event or what we're talking about here, a holiday open house, Toni, can you tell us what you do probably weeks, months prior to even opening your door for that special day?
Yeah. So the first thing is identifying a goal, because that's going to be different for all of us. Is it a sales goal? Is it getting leads or building relationships? For us, it's really more about relationship building and generating those leads. So everything we
Okay.
do, we want to kind of revert back to that goal. And it's easy to get sidetracked because you have all these different ideas and you're trying to decide which ones to do. Just really go back to that goal. Which of these things that we could do, because you can't do them all, is
Hmm.
going to be the best for our objective, and kind of make decisions that way. So that's first. And then setting a budget is super important, because again, it's easy to get carried away. We're very creative people in this industry. Uh, so setting a budget and advertising versus product, I'll speak to that a little. If you have inventory that you're bringing in, set a budget for that. If you have a sales goal and you're, divide by your markup and invest that much in the inventory that you're going to bring in to sell. We treat ours a little bit more like an advertising opportunity. So how much am I going to spend on displays or food and giveaways and that sort of thing to generate those leads and get people in, talking to them.
Yeah,
Just kind of go.
Toni, can I dig into that just a little bit? So,
Yeah.
do you set your budget as a percent of, even though the goal isn't sales for you in particular, but do you say, I'm going to have $100 worth of sales, thus I'm going to spend 5% or plan 5% of that, and that's going to be my budget per se, or how do you come up with that budget?
I break it so because mine is more advertising and I don't have a lot of like gift inventory in my store per se. I don't have a big budget for that.
Okay.
Uh, I do just my advertising budget for the year and I break that out. So that's
Gotcha.
quarterly, and then it depends on which categories, like social media advertising or Google AdWords, different things like that, and then events and the open house is like a line item on that.
Gotcha. Perfect. Good. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, of
What
course.
else do you do?
So timing is big. All of our timing might be different for an open house. Is it, do you do it in the slower season to get people in and build traffic? Do you do it at the holiday season when you know people are going to be buying and looking for things? We treat ours a little more like customer appreciation. That just works for us because our objective is that relationship building. So we do ours, we're going to do ours this year, the weekend before Thanksgiving, to kind of tie into the gratitude and that sort of thing.
Nice. It sounds like good timing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Create,
yeah, go ahead.
go through the bullet points kind of. Um, Creating a theme, again, creative. There's no shortage of ideas in any of our shops. I'm certain of it. So really identifying a theme, what you want to focus on, and then uh, honing that in, and then developing a timeline. So like for us, it's really hard to make decisions because we brainstorm all the time, and then we just set a deadline. Okay, by this date, no matter what, we're going to have it figured out. We're going to decide on something. Which is how it helps forces that. Otherwise, it's going to be the week before the open house, and we're not going to know what we're doing.
Right, right. I love this next idea you have about something that brings them back into your store. So, talk about different things you've done to entice that, and has it worked, or what has worked best?
Yeah. So the promotion is the easiest thing. So if they have a coupon or a discount or something for their next purchase is another way. But also with our workshops and classes and things, I I make it a goal that by the time this event is happening and I'm meeting with these people, I know what the next one is so that we can talk about it. So our workshops
Yeah,
for October, we have our workshops for November set so that when they leave that class, they know what's happening next month so they can come back. Um, Hopefully
really
come back,
smart.
or even it's just in the back of their mind so then they see it on social media and just kind of that um, building on it, the repetition, because one exposure might not be enough, but if they get a little flyer that they take home, they see it there, they see it on social media, somebody tells them about it, it all kind of works together.
That's perfect. Um, um, is this
So
me?
another, yeah, just well, I can just open it up. Just so the other thing that you do is do a weekend versus a 1 day thing, and why do you do that?
So that in the past, the shop has done like a one night big bang crazy thing, and is really fun and exciting, but I feel like people are a little crammed when in our space, and then we move to a new space that is a little smaller. So my thought behind that is I want people to be able to meander and just not feel too crowded, and I want to have more one-on-one time with them. Again, going back to that objective, mine's relationship building. So having it spread out over a couple days or a weekend is going to give us a better opportunity to kind of satisfy that objective and not overwhelm ourselves. To be totally honest, it's me and Shelly. We've got a team of two, and we want to be able to have the capacity to do that.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Plus, then it gives people the opportunity to come back
Yeah.
also if they want and bring other
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
And spreading it out just makes sense. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how do you do some of the promotion to start building that energy? So you had talked about just keeping that social media presence daily. What are some of your concepts behind that?
So that's huge. So we're big into stories on Instagram and Facebook, and that I sort of treat that as my VIP group. Anybody who has the time and interest to watch me talk on a little screen, like I know they're invested in us. So I usually let it leak, I guess, or give that's my first sort of announcement of it. And then I follow that up with social media posts. And we'll have flyers and things in the store. But again, our store doesn't have a ton of walk in traffic. So we really utilize social media, web presence. Those on Facebook, the community pages are huge for us. So every community has a Facebook page. So if you're not part of yours, I highly encourage that. There's a lot of activity, and then it just helps kind of elevate and expand those, multiply those impressions more than we ever could just by ourselves.
And one of the things you said is that you're very real on it. And, it kind of is embracing the whole wabi sabi technique of,
My favorite
beauty
word.
and imperfection. There you go. So, Nancy had to look it up yesterday. It's like,
I did. I'm not
but
cool like that
yeah,
yet.
yeah, just
Like, what is it?
embracing, the imperfection, not thinking about being perfect every time, just really being there and being real, I think is great. So, all right, so we're going to go to Heather next and have her talk about some of the things that she does. So, Heather, how do you start your processes?
Really, for our open house and actually just the whole holiday season, it's about a year-long process. We start immediately after Christmas. And so we do have a large space for gift items and decor and ornaments and such. So we do have a lot of walk-in traffic. And so we put up 15 Christmas trees. Half of them are real, half are permanents. I have access to real ones only because I grew up in a Christmas tree business and they still have some trees I can cut down. So it's really fun, and each tree has a different theme that goes along with the ornaments and the gifts, and it all goes together, and each area is split up into different themes. And so I usually try and have one or two that are like new and trendy. This year it's like winter wool, so like it's all going to be taupes and pampas grass and white wool and anything feeling white like that. And then the rest of the themes we reuse almost every year because we've realized that these things just sell for us. You see the list there. It was a huge German town, so the gnomes are a really big thing, and people are obsessed with them. It's not my favorite, but we do it because it sells. And so we have a huge area that way. Actually, the weekend that we hold our open house, which is in 3 weekends. So ours is the first weekend in November, which is always deer hunting season. So these women are getting together with girlfriends because their husbands are gone, and they're going to spend money because they can and they want to. And so also that same weekend we do our open house, there's a large gnome-made market in our town, and people hop from house to house that has handmade items, and there's also a huge women's expo. So for us, it's early compared to a lot of people, but we have to do it to be ready to. I'd rather have them shop here first before going to Mankato and going to Hobby Lobby or something like that. Like they see the coolest, best stuff first, and they're going to want to buy it, and they do. And we've trained our customers that if they see it, they should buy it because we don't have back storage for inventory and so on. So we've really trained our customers well that way too.
Do they just want to buy the tree completely decorated? Because
Yep.
I'm sure they're beautiful. I'll just take the whole thing.
I'll deliver it and I'll set it up.
Yes, perfect.
Absolutely.
Everything's for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Heather, you also, when you go to market, you look around for inspirations there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you kind of shop and how you pick out some of your curated collections?
So I usually attend Atlanta Market in January and July. I've tried Minneapolis, but I don't want to carry the same things that everybody else has in our area. We're in a small community. We have another gift store 3 blocks away, and I try to be respectful and make sure we're finding things that are different and not overlapping. So I work hard at market. I kind of feel like we have a little bit of a European flair here. And so one of my biggest holiday vendors is from the Netherlands, and I usually start in that showroom. And some of my other favorite showrooms are like Accent Decor. That really has just great displays and cool ideas, and I steal those all the time.
Interpret.
So, yeah.
Interpret those, not steal
Okay.
them.
I borrow.
Sorry.
I'm not a thief. But yeah, I work hard at market. I spend a week there, and when I go, I have my plan in place of what sold well, what didn't, and what our themes are going to be. And I just take time to look at my favorite showrooms first to find out what is that new trend this year. we are in the middle of the Midwest, so we see the newest, we kind of get the newest trends last, which is fine. And so I kind of start there, and then I pick my themes and I buy from there.
So you don't go in and buy everything from one place. You start setting your themes and then work
Yeah.
so that you have a unique collection. And that's really what kind of sets you apart. And is one of the reasons Heather told me that she does 30% of her year-round sales happen in November and December. So she knows that that is a huge amount of her profitability. And so dedicating time and money to go to market and shop like that is valuable. And then putting together these curated collections, just showing that, I like the whole concept that you are aware that there are other places in town that people are possibly going to, and that you want to have that unique look. So
I
one
have
of the
a
last, okay.
sorry, I have a
Oh, no.
question that came
Okay.
in. Someone asked if you did Heather say that you ran your open house over 3 weekends, or it's just one
Um,
weekend?
our open house weekend is the first weekend in November, which coincides with deer hunting opener. So ours is the fourth, fifth, and sixth this year.
Okay, 3 days, one weekend.
3 days, one weekend. We are open 7 days a week all year long, so it's nothing new for us to be open on Sundays.
Gotcha. All right. Thanks for the question, Rhoda, and the
And
clarification.
yeah, one other thing that you said that you do is you try to combine your purchases to get the best deals on freight, so that, and having unique product that isn't comparable to, somebody down the street. So nobody's thinking about price from one place to another because it's not something they can get there. So that allows you to be able to maybe get a little bit higher margin on some of those unique pieces, kind of that looks like value rather than the standard markup.
And absolutely, that's
So,
why, one of these companies I use, my markup sometimes is 4 or 5 times, and it feels and looks like the value. You can get, it's just some great deals that we found, and so we're able to capitalize on that as well.
yeah, that makes a big difference on the bottom line,
Mhm.
so.
Mhm.
All right, so we're going to go to Nancy, and she's going to
Yeah.
share some stuff that got sent in on the community.
Yeah, so thank you, Jackie from Prairie Home, for giving us some additional ideas. I love this one so much. So if you can't close your shop for 2 days like Jackie does, maybe you at close of Thursday night, she actually paper wraps her windows, and the little elves come in. This is what I'm imagining anyways, and they're really super busy, and they decorate the whole store, get it all ready, and then they do the big reveal and open up the windows and the doors, and people get to come inside and see. And she said that she did that last year and had the best Christmas ever. So just a kind of a fun idea, right? Just to add some excitement to it, because don't people always want to know what's going on behind the curtain? I mean, that just adds some excitement to it. So she also plans her events with other Main Street events like the tree lighting or parades and such. So smart if you can coordinate with your community, right? Also including discounts, giveaways, drawings, free gift wrap, music. We all know that food and drink will draw people, right? So anything that you can make it more festive and get people to stay longer, because the longer they'll stay, it's likely that they're going to spend more money, or you're going to cultivate that relationship better, right? So the more you can get them to hang out, it's usually a positive experience. Um, so just a really creative and fun environment. I know we've done demos in the past. I used to be a retailer, not floral retailer, but in the craft industry. And demos or showing product always would capture people's attention and get people engaged in whatever you're showing off for the moment. And I know, like you, Toni, if you don't have a lot of employees, I had customers that became like family, right? Because they came in so often. And I mean,
Mhm.
you ask them to do a demo on an open house day, and they'd be like, all you'd have to do is give them a little discount off of their purchases or whatever, and people
Yeah.
are willing to do that. So, if you don't have the staff, include your community of customers in helping with the event, because likely they want to participate. So, yeah. Um,
All right. So we're going to go to
yep.
Toni as she looks at some of the things that she does and just talking about, just expanding a little bit on the partnerships and things that you can do. So,
Yeah, so like I said, all those local businesses, they don't, no matter how different from us we think that they are, there's likely some sort of opportunity there. So whether it be like we did a flower crown class with our chiropractor, and she invited all of her clients in with their daughters to do a flower crown class. That's an audience that I wouldn't have normally reached at all. So again, like with two people, maximizing our our capacity or our ability to, like, you start with two, and then each person um, has a network, and then continue on from there. Another example, our yoga studio in town, we do a flowers and yoga workshop with them where she leads us through uh, like a yoga sequence that's all about rooting and grounding and growth. And then we do a floral design after that. So it's just a really cool way to connect and again expand that reach beyond where we normally would be.
right. And so also as you're creating promotional materials and stuff to be able to kind of spread that out. So partnering with your local businesses that are non-competitive, selling the same product, but utilizing those partnerships to help to kind of expand your reach and also share the promotional expense really kind of expands that whole market. And so one thing that Jackie from Prairie Home also did is she sells charcuterie boards, but so she doesn't sell the food, but she certainly knew how to make it pretty. So she did demos on how to decorate charcuterie boards. And that was something that is kind of capturing really what's happening right now in the market. That's a trend item that's happening.
Hmm.
She sells the boards, and for her to be able to kind of have fun. So it was a way to put food there that they could share and show, promoting selling their boards, and then also giving people great ideas to go on there. Um, all right. So
I'm
let's,
I'm sorry,
okay.
we have a question.
Okay.
What if I have not planned all year for my open house, like Toni and Heather has? What can I do now since I am in a crunch? It's short term.
I would say I have not been planning for a year at all. I mean, we decided our date not that long ago, to be perfectly honest with you. So it's never too late. Scale it to what you can do and start small. There's nothing wrong with starting small, and you're going to just continue to grow from there. I'd say that's key.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think something is better than nothing, right?
Hmm.
So if your first launch is a small scale, you learn from it, and then the next year you know what more to do or what not to do, and you just, like you said, you
Hmm.
keep building on it. Yeah, I would do
Um,
something.
one of the other things that Tony does too is that it's not only about selling what she has in her store, but she does pre-book opportunities and thinking about what are the next events. So we're going to get into that a little bit deeper when we get in it, but not only about inventory. So these two stores between Tony and Heather are quite different, So you have a smaller scale, and then Heather's Ada Zinnia is, a tourist destination with the town that she's in New Ulm. year round. And so we have a little bit different ways to look at it. So, but you can see that starting with something, whether you're small or whether you're large, that you'll be able to capture some of those customers.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's a huge
So
store.
we're going to
She's
go to Heather
15 trees.
and
Half
Can
of
we
them are
just do a little housekeeping? If you have
yeah.
your microphone on, can you mute?
yeah.
I think Linda, if you could mute, that would be so awesome. Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
And so then we're just going to go back to Heather, and she's going to talk a little bit about her timeline, where she does, how she does her planning and setup. So Heather, to you.
Sure, but I'm gonna go back just a second.
Okay.
Because it's live and learn. The first year I was open, I had no idea that shopping opener was the first weekend in November. We actually decided to flip the store that weekend, so we had a disaster and a mess and boxes everywhere, and we had tons of customers coming in. So live and learn, you know, like you just got to start somewhere for sure.
And
Yeah.
you know what? If customers are there and you have boxes out, sometimes
Yeah.
they just want to dig into them anyway, and it's
Right.
still somehow a success, right?
Exactly.
It's like Christmas, right?
Yeah, they got to
They
come
can
back
have-
and see how it turned out.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so our timeline, we have the ability, we have a greenhouse on our site that we're able to, is empty by then. It's not a fully heated or cooled greenhouse. So we were able to set up all our trees around the 1st of October, get them out, fluff them up, get the lights on them. And then the following week, we'll bring in all our inventory from the storage unit that's been arriving since July. And then we'll sort it out into our themes, unpackage it as far as we can. And then we're working on flipping the fixtures in our store right now, because we'll actually start flipping the store on Thursday of this week.
Yeah, and so some of the inspiration that you get, even for store layouts, comes from market as well. And so why don't you tell us about this showroom inspiration and how you set up a map and stuff like that. So
Yeah. So in the picture on the right-hand side of the picture is actually Accent Decor's ceiling installation from market this January. And then the one on the left is ours, the paint sticks hanging from the ceiling. So we kind of adapted that. We'll do that again with some Christmas themes as well. And then that's my very rough map that we plan out every table, every tree, where it's going to go, making sure the trees coordinate with the product and so on. So that I can go tomorrow and we've already decided what trees are going to be real, which one's fake. So we have the ability to map it all out and start moving things around.
yeah, and like you say that you're already setting the fixtures. So the other thing that she does is looks at not just a tabletop, but how can she add smaller tables to those so that you have different ideas and different levels to market on.
Yeah.
And that's a marketing technique that you can use. Heather does do quite a bit of collections and giftware that goes with it. And so does take that product when it's in the greenhouse into different sections. So they're already sorting that product. And so they can see once they've got kind of a base that can go out, then you start putting that collection out and install that. And sometimes components come in at different times, so it can be a challenge, but just start with what you can do.
Hey, we have another question,
Yep.
and I love all the questions, so keep them coming. Heather, do you bring in extra help when you do this turnover, and do you end up paying overtime to your employees during this time?
There's a little bit of overtime at this time. We have probably about 20 employees on staff this season, so from now till the end of December. On average, summertime, we have 12 to 14. So we have past employees that love working here, but they have moved on to other jobs or other situations, and they'll come back because they know what to do, they're good at it, they love it. So we have half a dozen people that will come back and help us reset on shopping or on this weekend, because they love it. And I sometimes just pay them in gift cards because that's all they really want. So we do hit a little overtime right now, which is challenging, but it has to get done and it has to get out so that we can capitalize on all the sales in November and December.
Really cool.
Mhm.
Um, just before we move on, thanks, Jake. He presented just another idea. Another open house is in Watertown. They have a ladies' night in October in conjunction with breast cancer awareness.
Mhm.
Um, so they have over 300 ladies through the shop in one evening. So just another great open house idea, another alternative, and partnering with other local businesses. Every business on their main street has their own giveaways and they promote in advance. So kind of like a trick or treating for ladies event. So um, yeah, great idea. And again, it just shows that partnership and what you can do by being involved in the community.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and
Thanks for
that's
sharing.
kind of really where, we're targeting Christmas right now, holiday specific or whatever, fall and Christmas. But a lot of these ideas are good year round. And in those slower times, to think about partnering with some other people and getting people in your store and just different ideas. Tony's going to share a couple of those a little bit later too. So we'll go to Nancy, and she is going to talk a little bit about some other techniques that you can use in your store to really kind of set the mood.
Sure. Um, so as we heard at the beginning, having music, holiday music, you absolutely, I think hands down that's a must. Or if you have someone local that is musical and you have a little corner to set up, I would find somebody that would do that maybe for free and they can put their cards out. It's a good way for them to promote their talent as well to the community. So, you just really want to make it feel like Christmas the moment people walk through the door. And part of that is the smells too, right? So if you don't have candles in your stores, get them in or get that sense going. Have potpourri and get our Patria candles. By the way, they're absolutely awesome. I have them in my house and they look real and they are good 365 days a year and they don't burn down. So, anyway, but make it magical. Really just emerge into the holidays in all senses. So, the hearing, the smelling, obviously, visually, make it fun. So, um, set the mood.
Yeah, and we can see
See,
here how Heather did a post on social and really shows that breadth of product that she has, but
mhm.
associating all the favorite things that are happening in the fall to make sure that her store is one of those stops on your favorite item list. So I
And
thought
it
that was a
does look cozy and warm, doesn't it? It makes me want to go there right now. It's awesome. Yeah, you have the touch for sure to entice people in.
Yeah, you should wait like 10 days because until that's over, it's going to be a little bit of a wreck. So just
Okay.
postpone that
Deal.
a couple days.
All right.
all right.
Another comment. Oh, I love all the engagement here. Okay. Cindy Strand, one of our awesome sales reps, a local artist uh, created a painting during their open house. We posted her progress on social media, which drew people in. She also does painting classes, so she was able to sell gift certificates as well. How fun is that? Yeah, it's showing a progression of someone share their talent and do that. You could do that with a floral piece or creating your backdrop prior to the event. Getting people excited for it. And I'm jumping ahead on backdrops, but yeah, love that. Thank you for that.
So just speaking of that, here is Tony. We'll go to Tony next and talk about some of the things that she does in her store to be able to have customers feel like they can do this in their own home. So Tony, why don't you share?
Yeah, so really focusing on the displays and that impact. So, and the variety, like you say, the variety of designs, whether it be a wall installation or a large tablescape. And then really, we do in our store, we exaggerate that much like you would at a fashion show. I mean, those
Mm,
aren't the clothes that you see in the store for sale, but that's kind of what gets that creativity and that wow factor. So we'll do an exaggerated tablescape, but encourage pre-books for Thanksgiving centerpieces, scaled
Yeah.
down versions. If somebody wants to buy that, well, heck yeah, that's great. But the scaled down versions is usually what goes out of the
You could
doors.
have
So
you could have cocktails around that one right now, but that's
yeah.
about it. That's beautiful. I love it.
um, and then I think the next slide has some wall decor.
Mm,
Really
fun.
photo. So again, going back to social, use an opportunity with what you have. So there's not a lot of product use in these, but it's just a way to get some visual interest and photo opportunities for people to stand in front of, take pictures, post on social media. We seem to have the most shares and tags and things like that in stuff like this, sort of the wow, the bigger representation of what you're doing. And again, this is not going out the store every day, but it it ties into the business in wedding work. Like it's a Christmas and Thanksgiving theme, but this thing over here that's really cool could easily be a wedding install, and kind of just getting people thinking about that and having those conversations is kind of fun.
Yeah, and some of
Yeah.
the other partnerships, bringing in some of the local different things. So you work with a couple local artists and stuff. Do you want to talk a little bit to that?
Yeah, so we have a local gal in Minneapolis that does candles, and she and I met, and she actually did signature scents for the flower shop. So we branded them Tony's Flowers, and there are three
Mm,
different scents specific to us, and that was a lot of fun. And now we carry her regular line as well. The yoga studio makes really cool lavender eye pillows, so we brought those in, and always thinking of things that could be added. We automatically add them to our website as an add-on too, and we see success there. Again, if we don't have the walk-in traffic, making sure that those nice, easy add-ons are a way to do it. Greeting cards, things like that. We have local, as much local as we can, sold here in the shop.
Yeah, and so with Bush too, we have that shop local promotion that we have stickers available that you can put on your buckets
mm,
about the different local items that we grow here as well. But that shop local is a huge buzzword right now. Family owned businesses. So both of you guys would be family owned businesses, and some of those hot buttons right now are good to use in your advertising, so that you put it out there and ask them to support you. Couple other things is the holiday greens, have those in stock already, and you can sell by the bunch or for the DIY, or also completed designs. And then looking at specials or promotions that everybody would bring in a flower or something like that.
Uh,
And
just a FYI,
yeah,
in the chat section, Kristen put in the codes for our Fresh and Local bucket sign and our Fresh and Local decal. So if you don't have them, they are free. You just order them either online or through your sales rep.
all right. And then I think Nancy's going to talk a little bit
Yeah.
about one of the things. Oh, it's wrong page. Here we go. Setting up backdrops.
Yeah. So Tony mentioned this as well. I think it's awesome. This particular one is at the Shed, who's owned by Allie, one of our Facebook community members and customers. And so, I think what was great is just how she let everybody know it was there, it's installed, come and get it. Pictures are free, right? So just another reason for people to come to your store, get their seasonal photo taken or holiday photo. Um, one idea that you can do is convert it, right, by just changing some elements. Now, the one pictured is very, very autumnal, but if you, I love that word and I can only use it one season a year, so you guys can use it now. It makes you sound really smart. Um, but if you have it basic, right, and then you can just pop in the colors of the season and have people come. But I know she's got a lot of foot traffic from that, because again, Tony, like you said, make it oversized, make it over exaggerated, and people tend to flock to it and come to it. So just another reason for people to come. Some other things. So I know, of course, social media to the max, and we will always, it is the way to get to your customer base. But stuff into your bags with an invite, I mean, also very easy, right? Just make quarter sheets and make sure that every bag that goes out, as soon as you have that date set, um, either it's you're handing it to your customer with their beautiful floral arrangements, or if they're buying a gift, it goes in their bag so that when they get home, they can put it on their refrigerator, whatever, just any way you can get the word out, right? So you just need to use all avenues, all areas to do it. You can offer a discount if they bring in the invitation, or send up a postcard. I mean, super fun to get mail, real mail, right? So, and if it's like a VIP or whatever, and you get a special invitation from your local florist, how fun is that? So, keep that in mind, and create a
And all,
plan to give back, right? So, we talked about that a little bit. Um, I think Toni, you did the give back with the Hope for Kids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so it's not just about getting people in to buy, but what can you do to give and give back, and make sure that your customers know that if you're partnering with a charity, what it is, and what they can do to help spread cheer beyond you know the four walls of your store.
And then
So
one of the
try.
another idea, yeah, is the VIP exclusive event. So we talked a little bit about how people have their community. Toni said the people that she considers her VIPs are the people that follow her stories and things. But and one of her goals was to make those connections. So she's developing a email list as well, and addresses, and to be able to create an exclusive list that would have those top customers feel special. So on here, go back to what we used to do, create a beautiful hand addressed VIP invitation, and have it be the night before the open house opens up. And so this is exclusive to them to get the first look, the first choice, the newest things. And so on there, when you're catering to your customers that are your loyal customers, you could give them an invitation they could bring for an extra discount, or also maybe have a little bit better food or live music, even hiring a Santa to do their holiday photos and bring their families, and it's a good way to go. So, all right. So then we're going to go to Heather, and one of the things you do is friends and family night. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So we actually create a postcard invitation for this, and each staff member or friends of mine or committee members of mine, they just get a personal invitation to enjoy our employee discount, which is 30% off. They'll get a free gift that night and special, refreshments. And so they just really are treated well. We get to talk with them, and it's just a cozy evening. We generally have some live music by a local, actually it's one of our staff members, and so it's a beautiful evening, and it's enjoyable, and family is important to us, and our community and our staff is important to us, so their friends also are important to us, and so on. So
That's
Yeah,
really fun.
yeah, really develops that extended network, and um, it includes, sometimes the employees feel like they have to work extra and don't feel valued and stuff, but extending that discount, and that timing on that is following your open house and kind of your busy season, so that discount is more like the first week in December or so, right?
right, yeah, yep. So we'll go through. We'll have our shopping opener, and then Thanksgiving weekend is generally our Christmas tree open house because that's when most people are buying their Christmas trees. We sell fresh Christmas trees. And then the week after that is when we pop in that friends and family night. And then the next week after that, on December 8th, we have a Shop in Wallam at Night event with our area businesses, and they have a little insert, like a flyer insert, and you have to get 3 stamps, and they turn it in, and then they can register to win $1,000 prize because we've all donated $25 or whatever to a grand prize, and it's huge. That's one of the biggest shopping nights, single nights of the year for us. So it's really a fun evening as well, and people know and expect it. And we're bringing it back to just for 4 hours because during COVID we spread it out over the all day so that people had more time and they weren't crowded. So we're excited to see how that turns out this year.
Wow, you have something going on every weekend.
In between shopping opener and our Christmas tree
Yeah.
open house, we start our classes as well. So it is an
Okay.
intense season
Yeah,
for sure. Mhm.
yeah, which is why you do so much volume. That's awesome. Good job.
Yeah. So I talked about one of the other things. So I think we talked through kind of this, but we'll go to Toni. And throughout the year, she did a little bit of cause marketing that really helped to increase some of her traffic in and make those connections with some different customers that she hasn't had in her store. And can you tell us about that, Toni?
Yeah, so this, I think we can all relate. Things were really, really hard to get for a while, and we struggled, and our sales have not been what I would like. So this has been a tougher year for us, and that kind of transformed into this idea of um, people bringing in vases or baskets or containers and receiving a little bouquet of flowers in exchange. Like I pay in flowers, and it was really, really well received. I just made it funny and said I'd like something like, when's the last time you looked under your kitchen sink? Like everybody has vases somewhere in their home hiding, collecting dust that they think they're going to donate someday, but they don't. And so many people related to that, I think. And so it took off. And then those community pages I was telling you about on Facebook, people
yeah.
shared it in there. I never in my wildest dreams would have expected the turnout that we had for that one silly post. And we still, that was in July. We still weekly have people coming in. Are you still accepting vases? I saw it on Facebook, which is proof there too that like social media works. Even if it doesn't feel like it's working, if you feel like nobody's looking, nobody's liking, nobody's commenting, keep doing it. And it hits. And when it does, it does. And you can't predict what's gonna hit.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
So yeah, on that post, actually, so there was 22 shares on it, and her reach was 28,073 people. So you can see how that cause marketing that hits those topics that everybody's hot on right now, the upcycle, recycle, and dealing with sustainability. So some of those hot buttons that are top search things, and the younger generation is very aware of that, using some of those things. Those are your future brides. So making those connections with those guys, getting those people into your shops, and making those connections can be huge for you. All right, so we're going to go to Heather and just talk about shopping small.
Oh, Heather, you're muted.
There we go.
Yeah. Thanks.
There we go.
So again, our small business owners group and the chamber, we do another insert for this particular event on Saturday, Small Business Saturday, and so we get this. Besides our shopping opener weekend, it is our next single busiest day of the year. We just have a huge local following that they know that this is the day they come out and they shop and they support us. So we promote that throughout our community all together in a flyer format, and it's worked well. And the night before that is the Parade of Lights to kick off the holiday season. So people are feeling festive at that point, and also it's our Christmas tree open house, so people are really in the mood for spending and enjoying family and shopping. So
Yeah, it's a great way to encourage like the whole family to come, and what you're doing is investing in future generations having that be their tradition, that they go to the flower shop, get their tree, get to buy an ornament and some of those things. That's something that we do every year. But and then Toni, we have so some of the social posts that you've been doing shows the items like just made, and how does that drive sales for you?
That's been interesting. So I didn't expect it, but it was almost like I feel like there's this whole trend of like album sales and things like lives more for clothing and fashion, but you see it where they're selling it live on Facebook or on Instagram or on their website somehow. And that wasn't what I anticipated, but we were working on some things. So I was posting it as new content and they just kept selling. People wanted the ones that I was posting, so that was cool. And then you've got a note here about behind the scenes, just showing it in motion. We did some kind of what do you call it, like time lapse things of it, of us actually making it. And I think that was maybe of interest too, because everyone was custom. It was one of one. I post them on our website, but I say this is one of one, and if it sells, it'll be removed. And that maybe was that kind of scarcity concept that
Mm-hmm.
people liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another trend that's happening right now is um, featuring your employees. And so we see small businesses featuring each employee, like getting to know people. And so that kind of invites them in to the experience and lets them see the people behind some of the arrangements. And like you say, if you're not comfortable on camera, there's other options. Time lapse and doing some videos. If you can do videos from the backside too, where you're shooting through your shop and it's not you talking to the camera if you get nervous. If you
Mhm.
start from the backside, there's options for you to be able to really connect with your customers. And one of the other things that both you guys do is classes. And so Toni's going to share with us a little bit about how their experience with classes.
Yeah, so those have been really fun. Kind of what we do is we set a design for our marketing material. So we have a specific look, container, product that we're selling, but when we're designing, but when they come to the class, there's some customization options. So let's say the recipe is 2 roses, 3 carns, yada yada. They have different color options for that, and it's really fun to see people get creative and just kind of express themselves in the design. And I feel like it made it a lot more fun. Um, and it was just interesting how they would go up to the buckets and they'd kind of hem and haw and decide. It was a very cool experience, and not unknowingly, like reflecting back on it, it gave them a little sense of what we do, like why we put certain things together and the thought that goes into the work that we do creating arrangements. So that was kind of an added bonus.
Yeah. And then, so other options, I know that Heather does with her classes is offering upgrades. So she'll show one design and then show them, oh, well, Sally, you could add in lights because I know you have more money, bottom line, and that you would want yours to look better than, Teresa next door or whatever. So you get a little
That's
bit
right.
of competitiveness
Mhm.
with some of the people in the classes. And some of the other tips that Toni talked about was, making sure that attendance, if the topic is high enough that your attendance makes it worth your while. Making sure for them, like 10 to 15 is about the capacity of their shop. And they want to make sure that they're not here to oversell classes and have it be a poor experience. They want it to be a top experience too, and they just provided some snacks and water and allowed people to bring their own refreshments. So if people choose to bring their own snacks or refreshments, that takes away your liability. And then just catering to groups that we really look at. But let's just take a look at Heather's class schedule here. And so you start promoting this early, right?
No, we had to start promoting it early because people were calling and asking when classes were. So
That's
um,
good.
we usually do it early, and then I mean we must have 40 people signed up already for so far. And so we'll teach our spruce pot class, and then we'll do the gnome class. And the gnome is what you see in the picture. It's just a tomato cage.
Adorable.
We make the hats. We give them the nose and the hat and the greens. And some gnomes are fat, and some are skinny, and some are odd shaped, just like all of us. So it's always fun to see
Wabi sabi.
how they can turn out.
Did I say it right?
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay, good.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's right.
So we've trained we also sell a DIY kit for the spruce pot. They're like, oh, I still have the pot. And we'll hand them the bundle that they need to make their spruce pot. And so that really has great margins on it for us, because we just literally sold them the pot class price almost, without doing anything. So we pre-bundle that. We'll pre-bundle the gnome packages as well, because it's hard to find a tomato cage in December. And we have a large stock of them. So we plan ahead for that as well.
Well, that's great. And it's really cute. And one of the other things that happens in New Ulm is you have to say it. No Maid, or what is that? The festival?
Oh, yeah.
They have an open
The
house.
Nomade.
Yeah, gnome made market. And so, you get your gnomies together and blah, blah, blah. So
Oh my gosh.
we're a very German town and Scandinavian as well.
That's good. That's
Oh,
good.
I love communities like that. That's awesome.
All right. Do we have any other questions, Nancy, that came through, or?
I didn't see any. Nope. But we can open it up now if there is any other follow-up questions or ideas that somebody wanted to share. I mean, this would be a good opportunity. We've had a
Yeah,
ton.
I do. So
okay. Go ahead.
If you follow us on Facebook, I borrowed this idea from my friend Melissa, who owns Bank of Flowers in Milwaukee area. She's got a few stores. And we do Friday Flower Name Game. And we have a giant following. We have people, like, my phone blows up at 6 a.m. every Friday morning, because that's when it posts, and they're taking all their friends. And the guys will walk in and be like, yeah, I got tagged on Facebook. So they come in to get their free bouquet of flowers. And then oftentimes we'll do the bounce back coupon as well. So if your name is tagged on that Friday, so say it's Sandy and Jason, you get to come in and get free flowers that day. It's just a small bouquet, a couple daisies, maybe a carnation, three flowers or stems or so. But just the amount of people that share it and the amount of views we get is, I mean, not as many as yours, but like 3, 4, 5, 6,000. And so it's just a great way to keep your social media fresh. And we are, usually at the top of the list as far as Google goes. So it's just, and I borrowed that from a friend, and I asked her first, but it's fun. It's like a cult.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I think it's a great idea. Everybody has a name.
Well,
right?
and
So everyone
it's
can
something.
play.
It's something that you do consistently. So, like you say, people are there. They're looking right before the weekend on Friday and Saturday. That's when they are possibly going to be needing arrangements for little parties they have and stuff. So it keeps you top of mind, and that's really one of our top goals, is to really get out there, get exposure, stay top of mind. So one thing that I want to share, that is probably the most important thing, is to plan for the future. So keep notes, keep a running notepad of the things that you have done that went well. And this goes back to somebody that said that they haven't planned so far. So now take some of these ideas and think about things that you could use in your store, and keep a notepad of what went well as things you would change, and then recommend the change in your notes already. Because otherwise, when you read your notes in October or September, when you're starting to plan for the holiday, you say that, our wrapping station didn't work very well where it was. Well, where should I move it to? When you're fresh to doing those notes, if you give yourself a recommendation, it's going to be far more valuable and improve your processes every year. So not only what went wrong, but what went right, what sold well, things you would repeat, and things that you wouldn't repeat. And but just utilize that to kind of keep going back and improving your event every year. So
And to add to that, we do that every year after season, or as we're going, we actually make notes. But we also make note of the weather, because I can't
wow.
remember what weekend we had a snowstorm, or maybe it was 70 degrees on our shopping opener weekend. So it sounds odd, but if I don't have it written down, I don't remember a thing. So just keeping track of what it was like out that day too helps us a lot as well.
That's a really good point. I love it. Well, I just want to thank both Heather and Toni for being our special guests today. It was really awesome to have you and see what you guys are doing similar and different, and just the vast amount of ideas that we've shared and with the team here. If you're watching it live, remember it's Pedal It Forward tomorrow. If you're going to be out there, have fun, dress warm, and it's going to be another really just great community event for people to embrace. But hope you've learned some awesome tips here that you can help in having successful events and upcoming in this holiday and your holiday events. If you do have questions, always feel free to reach out. We can pass them along if you didn't get to ask them here during this webinar. We will be posting this this whole webinar on our YouTube channel. It'll be under our playlist, our LBR Share Success playlist. So you'll be able to go back if you wanted to catch something maybe that you didn't get to that you want to go back and see again, and feel free to share it, free feel to comment, and please join in our discussions on our Facebook community page. This is where we also share and learn from each other. This webinar one way, and then community page another great way that we've gotten a lot of engagement. So just wish you all a great holiday season in advance.
Yes, and thank you. And thank you both for participating today. This has been amazing. I really enjoyed interviewing you. And I was at Tony's shop. It's great to see that. And Heather, I'm coming to see you. No, need to make my way down to New Ulm. And but we appreciate everybody attending today. We will be sending out a constant contact email and sharing the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation. In that, there'll be a link in that as well. And so look for that in the next couple of days. And we appreciate everybody being here. Thanks for being a part of Lembush Sharing Success. Bye-bye.
Okay. Happy holiday.